Hello there and welcome to My Finance Teacher. Today I want to bring to your attention a very early stage copper gold explorer, Kobrea Exploration. This explorer definitely falls into high risk, high reward category. So if you choose to get involved, position size should be very limited. Kobrea is still flying under the radar, but it recently gained a first mover advantage in Argentina's western Malarg mining district. That's pretty exciting, and let me explain why. Kobrea is a first mover in a reviving district. Mining activity in the Malarg district actually dates back over 100 years. But over time, environmental concerns slowed things down. Fast forward to now, there's been a clear regulatory shift. In November last year, 2024 alone, 34 exploration projects were approved. And Kobrea is leading the charge, having staked the most promising areas, over 73,000 hectares. Now, I typically prefer investing in developers rather than exploration companies. Developers usually have defined resource that we can model and place a value on. Kobrea doesn't have that. It's a pure exploration story. But even so, I have a small position that's already provided the members at myfinanceteacher.org with over 7% return in just a month. Hence, for more detailed and regular updates, make sure to join us. That's again myfinanceteacher.org. Back to Kobrea, the discovery potential here is definitely worth your attention. Kobrea currently has 3 main exploration stage projects. They have more, but the 3 are the ones with exploration license already. 2 in Argentina, El Perdido and Elena, both in the Malarg mining district, and 1 in Canada, the Upland Copper Project in British Columbia. Kobrea has an option to acquire 100% of the Argentine project and already owns 100% of Upland. Now a little about Malarg district. The district sits within the Neogene Porphyry Belt. That's the same belt that holds massive deposits like Los Bronces Rio Blanco, 204 million tons of copper, and El Teniente, that's 128 million tons of copper. Of course, that doesn't mean that Kobrea has something of that scale, but the regional geology definitely supports the potential. Let's zoom in into the exploration projects held by Kobrea, starting with El Perdido. It covers 6,878 hectares. Here, surface work has already identified what looks like a porphyry copper gold molybdenum system. No drilling yet, but there is a 2x3 kilometer hydrothermal alteration footprint coinciding with anomalous rock geochemistry of a 900 by 500 meter area. There is also a strong magnetic anomaly that stretches around 1 kilometer and at depth. And the project is less than 10 kilometers from a paved road. That helps with access. The Yelena project covers more than 13.8 thousand hectares. Yelena hosts a 5x7 kilometer corridor of hydrothermal alteration. 3 known porphyry prospects at Yelena, which are Las Cargas, Tiburcio and Cerro Bayo, have already been mapped historically. Access to the project is also decent, just 5 kilometers from a gravel road. Moving to Canada, Upland Copper Project covers 5,300 hectares in British Columbia. This one could be a bulk tonnage copper deposit, possibly similar to a Yellowhead deposit 23 kilometers to the north. Some historical drilling exists here, but it's limited and dated, so I'm not going to mention it here. Again, for details, check us out at myfinanceteacher.org. Moving on to latest exploration updates. Back in February this year, 2025, Kobrea reported the discovery of a hydrothermal breccia at El Perdido, about 1.7 kilometers long and 250 meters wide. That's meaningful because hydrothermal breccias often host copper, gold, silver, and even uranium. They act as pathways and traps for metal-bearing fluid. So that recent surface discovery adds another layer of interest here. What I like about Kobrea in general, what stands out to me, is the scale of the land package and the number of untested prospective targets. 7 projects and several dozen potential zones. This reminds me a little bit of Inflection Resources. Many shots at a goal of some sort of a meaningful discovery. Sure, each individual target doesn't have the odds, but taken together statistically, the probability of at least one discovery becomes quite real. Moving on to liquidity and financials, Kobrea raised $5 million in December last year, 2024, and still had about $4.5 million in cash as of January this year. So it's reasonably well funded for now. They don't have any long-term debts, that's good. However, there are 6.25 million in payments due over the next 2 to 3 years related to the projects in Argentina. So of course, as all explorers have to, Kobrea will have to raise capital over the next couple of years. Admin and G&A expenses were just under $1 million last fiscal year, which is already a little on the high side, and they've been rising over the last 2 quarters, so that's something to keep an eye on. As for the share itself, it's pretty new to the market. Since last September, the price has moved between 20 cents and 50 cents. Currently it's sitting around 30 cents per share, which I think is a fairly interesting entry point given that the latest capital raise happened at 43 cents. Lastly, for my conclusion, and this is just my opinion, you gotta do your own analysis. I'm not your investment advisor. Kobrea is very speculative, but the setup is interesting. They have secured land in a major geological belt, have a bunch of targets to test, and are showing some encouraging signs at surface. So that's before any drilling and drill results. I might actually be slowly growing my position over the next few weeks. And again, you can follow that in the model portfolio as a member at myfinanceteacher.org. So what do you think? Could this tiny copper explorer turn into something much bigger? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching and share this video with your friends. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.